also Mr. Espada. I mean, Mr. Marcegaglia just said cost, high cost is one of the first challenges with many others. What is your point of view from your perspective, the main challenge that Europe has going forward?
For me, one of the challenges that Europe has forward is that we are not focusing in keeping the industrial network and the industrial companies that we are running today. It looks sometimes that we are trying to protect some of the parts of the market instead of focusing in increasing the consumption of steel. This is something that we have addressed from Eurometal sometimes for many years, sometimes has not been properly understood. But in our opinion, the European Commission should be protecting the consumption of steel because that will protect the rest of the supply chain, and that in an open market. Today, what we are seeing is that driven by the focus of decarbonization, we are jeopardizing the supply chain in a way. And we have to be very careful because what is killing, I mean, a bullet is not killing because of its size, it's killing because of the speed that it enters into the body. And with the decarbonization, sometimes we are going too quick without taking into account what are the consequences. And now we are seeing it, is that what Mr. Marcegaglia has mentioned, now that it's difficult to import certain products of steel, these are being imported with more added value. So now we are seeing, not only talking about cars, but parts of cars. We are not talking only about cold rolled steel, but the washing machines. All these things are being imported, and there is a lot of added value there, a lot of jobs, a lot of GDP that is not taken into account when the problems are being addressed. So beyond the problems that Mr. Marcegaglia has mentioned on the cost, on the restrictions on certain practices in the market, I think that the challenges with decarbonization and how it's being addressed needs some rethinking at some levels in the public entities.
And I would add, because you mentioned prices and you mentioned costs, sorry, not prices, and you mentioned, of course, policies. But then if we go back to the basics, if we want to go back to the basic, actually demand is one of the main issues. But of course, is it, and this is one of the questions we ask ourselves continuously, the loss of demand that we saw in Europe, is it structural or is it just a cycle? Because if it's structural, then we are losing some part of the demand, and it's going to be difficult to recover it. If it's a cycle, then we all know that cycles at the end turn in a way, in a positive way, and this is of course our hope.